All right, moving on to Saturday. This is a really good in-state game to kick us off early, 11 a.m. Central Time kick on Saturday. We got North Carolina State traveling to Greenville to take on East Carolina. This line has actually moved up in North Carolina State's direction. I'm seeing 11 and a half right now towards the Wolfpack as the road favorite. Total has been steamed down from near closer to 55 all the way down to 51 and a half. So if you've been watching the channel, I think North Carolina State is a really, really good football team. I think they can go into Death Valley and beat Clemson. I really do. I think it goes beyond quarterback play because Devin Leary is obviously my top-rated quarterback coming into the year in the ACC. I think they're going to have a really good passing game with some of the weapons they have on the outside. They could really make an impact downfield. But, why I'm so high on North Carolina State really falls on the defensive side of the ball. They were a top 15 defense by my estimation a year ago, and they're really stout at all three levels. I mean, Peyton Wilson is back at linebacker. I think he could be a first-team All-ACC selection at that position. They can get after the passer. They're reliable in the secondary, so there's really not a lot to not like about this team. So that can be true. There's no way I want my money on North Carolina State in this spot. You're laying double digits on the road to a team like East Carolina that, while they may be a group of five team, the American is still a good conference, but this is a really experienced team, specifically at the quarterback position. Holton Ahlers is a guy, this can now be his fifth year starting, came back for that super senior year. He's really experienced. East Carolina can really run the football too. A good 1-2 punch at that position. So as high as I am on North Carolina State, this is just not a spot that I want to be taking this big of a stand with them. I mean, obviously, I think they're going to win the game, but you're asking them to cover a double-digit spread on the road. That's a whole different story. The one concern that I do have about North Carolina State is their run game. As good as I feel about the passing game, this is a team that just wasn't effective on the ground a year ago. It's not a huge part of what Dave Doeren has shown during his time at NC State. And going into the season, there's just not a lot of clarity about how the carries get divvied up, and even if there's going to be as much of an emphasis on that aspect of the game this year. So something I heard Josh Pate talk about, y'all know Josh Pate. If y'all watch his shows, he actually talked about this last night. North Carolina State might not have that big of an issue in between the 20s, but I could see East Carolina getting some red zone stops. That typically seems to be what happens with teams that are very heavy passing attacks, but can't run the football when it matters most. That's one aspect of North Carolina State's game I'm going to need to see. Aside from that, though, I would actually lean towards the over because I do think this is going to be a competitive game. But I think the way this stays competitive is I think East Carolina uses some of that experience that they have at both the quarterback and the running back position. And this is a team that's going to run with a really aggressive tempo. And just given what they're going to need to do to keep up with North Carolina State, I would expect this to be a pretty high possession game if East Carolina can control the pace. So, I looked at the weather. I looked at the injury report. I don't really understand why this total has moved down as much as it has. At this point, my best look on the game is the over 51 and a half. I don't know if it's going to make my card because it's not something at the 54 and a half that I was really even considering, but seeing that come down as much as it has for, in my opinion, no good reason. I do think that could be worth a play. It's going to stay a lean for me at the time. Once again, I'm very high on North Carolina State. I think this team has the makings, given what they're going to have in the passing game, given what they're going to have at all three levels defensively. This is a team that I think is going to surprise a lot of people this year and is absolutely a contender for the ACC. But opening the year, this is a tough spot. Out of principle, I'm not going to lay double digits here on the road with them. I plan on having my entire week one card out by Thursday. So if you do want to be certain what I am on officially, follow me on Twitter at Fordham Betting. I actually released 4 best bets on Tuesday night, 3 of those being multi-unit plays. So I will leave the link to those write-ups in the description. We started off this college football season with a 1-0 week 0. We had Illinois minus the 10.5. That was a 1.5 unit winner. Last year in college football, hit at a 55% clip, netted over 27 units. Feel even better about how I'm going to do this year. As far as here on YouTube, feel free to like the video if you enjoyed this game breakdown. Subscribe to the channel. That really helps out what I'm trying to build. Then comment your game prediction down below. You can also see all the other week 1 game breakdowns. If you go to playlists here on the channel, it'll say week 1 previews and predictions. Click that. I'll have all of the other video breakdowns that I'm going to do in that playlist. This should be a really good matchup. Fun in-state rivalry. I don't know if you can call it a rivalry, but fun in-state matchup to start off the season, but probably going to be no play for me. Slight lean towards that over 51.5.